Dr. Cutter here with Chainsaw Hospital, and this is part two of Nathan, the Stihl MS311, having some issues. If you haven't checked out part one, check it out right here. So, part two here, we're going to be taking apart the clutch on this side right here. You know, the clutch side, and what we're going to do is we're going to look underneath of here, and we're going to see if we can find an oil leak because we could not find one, or at least it's not dripping as bad as I was expecting. But I think I know where the problem is. So let's get in here and check it out. This is how we're going to get the clutch off. We've got a snap ring right here on the crankshaft. And then, so what we're going to do is put a screwdriver in here to pop this off. And what I like to do is just hold this side with my finger and pry off on this side. You can see it kind of working right there, and it pops right off. That way you can keep control of the clip and go flying across the room, and you can find it again. So there's the washer that comes off. Next up is this clutch drum. Hopefully that, yep, that popped off this time. Oh, you can see it's got kind of a lot of crud in there. So let's go ahead and clean this up before we put it back on, but we'll just put it to the side right now. Pull off this bearing right here, clutch drum bearing. We'll grease that up before we put it back on. Now we've got this clutch. This is a 3/4 inch socket that would go on here, and this is righty-loosey on these. So let's get a 3/4 socket on here and go ahead and pull this clutch drum off, or this clutch off. Got an impact gun here, and what this is going to do is going to give us that good hit right at the beginning, and that's going to help pop this thing right off of here. I've done quite a few of these, and you don't have to keep beating and banging on it or anything. You just put this impact on there like that, and it pops right off. Especially the big ones. The little 1/4 inch ones that doesn't really have enough power to do anything. Alright, so let's fight with getting this clutch off of here. There we go. Got that off. Lastly is this little washer here. Got the last washer, and it says top, so make sure we put that on the top when we put it back in. So right off, I'm not seeing anything crazy dripping out of here. So, you know, there's no big pools of anything. There's some crud down in there, which we'll pull that out. What I'm going to do is set this here on the workbench on this clean rag for, well, clean enough rag, and see if we can spot this oil leak here. My assumptions are it's probably not in the pump here, but it is worth checking out. It could be the oil cap. Sometimes I've seen that happen, especially if it wasn't put on correctly. But you know, it's okay. But let's set it here for a few days, and we'll come back and check on it. Here's day one of the oil leak searching. So everything is nice and clean and dry. There's no leaks all around here. I kind of wiped everything down really well, and everything looks great. So let's leave it for a day or two, and maybe 3, and we'll come back and check. Here's day 2 of the oil leak search, and I'm just not seeing anything at all. So I think we're okay, but I'm going to let it go one more day. All right, it's been a few days, and we've checked out a few things. I've wiped this down with a rag a few times just to see if we've, you know, got anything weird going on, and I'm just not seeing anything in this area here. It is not wet at all, and the rag here, you know, it still has the same kind of look to it, and it's just no puddles on there. But so what I did find, though, and I mentioned this earlier, was this you know, this ring right here, this O-ring that's on this cap. I would like to go ahead and change that out. So let's go ahead and get that going. Go ahead and pop this cap off, just pop that up vertical and then rotate it counterclockwise, kind of lefty-loosey. Next up is you got to pop this string out of here so you can remove. So you just take your thumb and push down on it, and this little ball will pop out of the case. So set that down right here. Yeah, you can kind of see where some oil had been dripping right there. So we'll wipe that off again and clean up all this right here. So here's the O-ring that actually does all the sealing for this. And these wear out from time to time. Actually, last time I bought one, I bought 5 of them. And that's because I've got a couple of these, and it seems like every one that comes through here, at least in my experience, has had an issue. So I've just got a pick here that I'm trying to pry off, and it does take a little bit of force, but you can get it on off of there. So there's the old one. We've got our new one. You can see it looks quite a bit different. This is a 25 by 3.5 millimeter O-ring. So we'll kind of go with the same install tactic. Roll one side on at a time, as we did taking it off one side at a time. There we go. So got that started. And then just kind of roll it down here. And I'm sure if you use the wrong kind of bar wool that it might degrade these O-rings. But there you go. Now that's in place. Next up, let's go ahead and get this back in here. Inside the oil tank is this little catch right here. And what that is where the ball of the string here actually interfaces with it to keep the cap from coming out. So let's see if we can get this back in here. Everything's really oily because it's packed full of oil, but the idea is you can fish it back in there just like that. Use your finger to kind of stick it back in the hole and then pull up on it, and then there's the oil cap. Now it's locked in there. So that's nice. That's a nice feature actually to have. So let's go ahead and put this cap back in, and when we put it on, we're going to make sure we fully engage it here with this other little tab, and then then fold it over. So all right, everything's nice and dry in here, and I'm happy that it was that oil cap and O-ring that was leaking. So let's go ahead and reassemble the clutch and everything on this on Nathan here. So we're going to put this little washer in there, and we're going to make sure we put top toward the top, and we did. And the next piece was this the clutch itself. So what I'm going to do is put that in there and lefty tighty on this one here. And I'm just going to use my impact really quick just to kind of rattle it on there a couple hits. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, that's plenty. We'll set it with the chain brake here in just a little bit, so that'll be fine. But that's plenty to keep it from going anywhere. Next up is our needle cage bearing, and I like to just put a little dab of grease on this. Not much, because it'll just go everywhere. I've just got an old grease tube that came out of a grease gun that I scooped out some of the grease, and I'll stick it on there. I like to keep those greased up. Oh, here's our clutch drum. Let's go ahead and clean this out. Got me a rag here. Looks like I might need a screwdriver. Yeah, that stuff's kind of caked in there. I'm going to clean this out, wipe everything down really well, and then we'll go ahead and get this back in there. Got the clutch drum nice and clean in there. I'm good with that. Go ahead and slide this on here. And we need to make sure, like, my little oil pump arm is sticking right down there. It will eventually make its way on there. I've monkeyed around with it, but try to align this little notch up right here with this little arm that's down inside of there. Hopefully you can see that. I'll try to get you in there so you can. if you can see that little arm in there, that's where we're going to line up this notch. So it just happened to be pointing down, right? Pretty easy. And you'll feel it go all the way down. If it's not, it'll just be kind of sitting up top and it won't feel nice and solid like that is. And that's a good time to also check your clutch drum bearing. And this clutch drum bearing is in great shape. So put our other washer on here with this curved side down. This, open part down. And then we've got our clip. Just get our clip there. Needle nose pliers, all you need. Just snap it right back on there. Nathan is done and back together. So let's go ahead and take it outside and check it on the test log to make sure everything's okay. All right, we got Nathan put back together here, and the chain is super sharp. Went ahead and got that touched up just perfect, and I got the rakers set, and you can see no oil leaking from the clutch or anything like that, and got the gas cap is looking good, not leaking. Then the oil cap here is not leaking. We went ahead and got that new O-ring put on there, so that's good to go. So let's go ahead and take a few test cuts with Nathan here and make sure everything's okay. So I've already got Nathan warmed up, so just going to flip it to the on position, and let's see what we got here. Alright guys, well I'm really happy with how Nathan turned out. This project was kind of a good one to learn some basic stuff on. So really happy about that. Thanks for watching guys, and remember, take care of your small engines and treat them well.